Advisory services are offered through Creative Financial Designs Incorporated. A registered investment advisor, and securities are offered through CFD Investments Incorporated. A registered broker-dealer, member FINRA and SIPC. 2704 South Goyer Road, Kokomo, Indiana 46902. Phone number 765-453-9600. Neither CFD Investments Incorporated nor Creative Financial Designs Incorporated are associated with SmartVestor or the Dave Ramsey Organization. Neither SmartVestor nor the Dave Ramsey Organization recommend or make an endorsement for services under the SmartVestor program.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another cold day. Wow, has winter arrived? My wife, I know, is praying for snow. For those of you that don't want the snow, you'll just have to get over it. But she's a school teacher, and she needs some snow days. And I know I'm out there praying for all of our teachers to have a little bit of a break before the end of the year. Of course, they'll get a break at Christmas time as well. But you know how it is. For those that don't know, our teachers actually have work 13 extra days every year than what is contracted that they don't get paid for. And they build in those 13 days specifically for snow days or sickness days or whatever. When the school has to shut down, they use those 13 days first. And on years where we have little to no snow whatsoever, the teachers basically just lose all of that time that they are working over every year. So I think you understand what I'm saying there. And so that's why I do believe that our teachers deserve a little bit of a break from wrestling with our Rugrats and all that stuff and dealing with some craziness. I know my son actually goes to school outside of the Upper Cumberland because of what the story I'm about to tell. I'm not going to tell you exactly where he goes to school, but this kind of thing I found out happens just about everywhere. But one of the kids in his school was actually vaping in class, using this little Juul type of cigarette thing to get his nicotine fix, and was actually not just smoking those vaporizer cigarettes, but was selling them illegally because they're all under 18, of course. These are freshmen and juniors, sophomores and juniors at the high school where my son goes, and the kid was just blatantly using this vaping machine right there in front of my son, and knowing that that's not right, my son just snapped a quick picture, turned that into the principal. Of course, the kid got in trouble, and now the kid and his goons, if you will, are threatening to plant drugs on my son and try to get him in trouble. So of course they're too dumb not to talk about their plans ahead of time. So we've turned in all that information to the principal to let them know of, hey, if something happens, this is what's going on, and this is fair warning ahead of time. But anyway, just I don't know how I get off on some of these random topics sometimes, but it's interesting. The point is to all that is our teachers sometimes are dealing with all kinds of drama, and it's sometimes things that are way beyond their control, and they still have to kind of be a parent, if you will, there for our kids during the school day, and it can be a tough job. There's no doubt whatsoever. So thank a teacher. Take a moment over Thanksgiving and maybe write a note or an email to a teacher that has made a difference in your child's life or even in your life. Who knows? And just be thankful. You know, that's what's coming up this next week. Thanksgiving, that's hard to believe. That's already here. It feels like it's February to me. It's cold, but it feels like it should be the beginning of the year instead of the end of another year. But so this episode, I am going solo with you guys. I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about some different things, but one of the things I want to talk about is the election results, and conservative news talk radio, and I'm a conservative, as you guys know. I'm proudly a blood-bought believer in Jesus Christ, and believe that we should vote as Christians if you are Christians. And I don't believe in abortion. I believe that is murder. Just no doubt about it. gonna quote scripture off the top of my head here, so forgive me if I mess this up a little bit. But Jeremiah 1:5, if I'm not mistaken, paraphrased, says that God knew us before we were formed in the womb, that we were created for a purpose before we were formed in the womb. So he knew us. He created us for a purpose and for a mission, and made you uniquely to who you are. I give an analogy sometimes when I'm talking about this, and I'm looking around for things that happen to be laying right in front of me, and I see this pen that's got a little clip to hang over your pocket or whatever, and it's got a push plunger to push the ink in and out, and a way to release that back. And this pen, I bet you, was designed by an intelligent being before it was ever put into production. Every little thing about it, there's a spring on the inside of it, there's a little rubber grip on the outside for your hands to have a better grip, to make it more comfortable for writing. And everything about this was created for the purpose of being able to write without the pen getting clogged up and so on and so forth. But if you tried to use this pen as a cup to drink your coffee out of, it would perform horribly. It would do a very bad job for that. You have to realize God created you unique to anyone else for a purpose. And to find out what that purpose is, you need to seek His will in your life. You need to get in the Word of God. You need to study, and you need to pray, and you need to put that study and those prayers into action. So that's kind of your three-step plan there, is for if you're supposed to be a ballpoint pen, don't try to be a coffee cup, is kind of the point there. I hope you're picking up what I'm laying down for you today. But so all that being said, 5,000 unborn are being murdered daily in America that have a purpose, that are made for a unique job or purpose in the kingdom of God, and that job is going unfulfilled because they're being murdered, and it is horrible. And so I just would encourage you all to pray and vote, and we're going to talk even more about this, but specifically we're going to talk on how what I have just mentioned and talked about. We're going to talk about how the voting results and how that's going to affect the market, in my opinion. And we're going to do that when we come back after a word from our sponsors. I want to thank everybody for listening and being just a supporter of Money in Motion Radio, but want to thank everybody for listening in. My name is Jason Murphy, your host on Money in Motion, and you're listening to News Talk 1077 and 1400 The Hub.
Hey, are you being bombarded by all those Medicare ads on TV, or all that junk mail that you end up throwing in the trash can? Are you confused about all the plans and parts of Medicare supplements? Why are there so many choices? Let me tell you, one size does not fit all. Don't let the stress overtake you, because it all can be so confusing. Mike and Julie Townsley of Diamond Financial Group, located at 228 East Broad Street, Suite 100 in Cookeville, right off the square, can explain it all to you and cut out all the confusion. They offer a free consultation, and they will explain all the changes to Medicare for 2019. They will help you pick out the plan that best fits you. They will help you understand the plans and parts of Medicare so that you don't have to worry about making the right choice. They service the insurance policies you choose through them. Give Mike and Julie a call at 931-646-4090.
Tucker Farms is the premier land clearing, property development, and excavation company of the Upper Cumberlands, based out of Livingston, Tennessee. We specialize in forestry mulching, site clearing, and prep for new construction. We provide general excavation, such as excavation for foundations, power service entrances, septic systems, and water lines. Whether it's residential or commercial, Tucker Farms has the expertise to fulfill your property goals. Give us a call today at 931-260-1178, or find us on social media at Tucker Farms LLC, or on our website at tuckerfarms.farm.
Welcome back to Money in Motion. I'm your host, Jason Murphy from Diamond Financial Group, located right there beside the Poets on the Square in Cookeville, catty corner from the courthouse. And would love for you all to stop by and see me, or better yet, just call and get a meeting time. It's crazy. God is blessing my business greatly. I'm very thankful for that. And I have a lot of people coming in here of late, and things are going really, really well. But if you need some help with your investments, if you need some help with your 401k management. Interesting statistic on what we're about to talk about with the election results and how I believe that may affect the market a little bit. But there are now more millionaires in their 401k plan than ever in the history of the U.S. stock market. According to Fidelity, in 2017 to 2018 to where we're at now, there's been a 41% increase in millionaires from last year to this year. There's now approximately or over 187,000 millionaires in 401ks, again, according to Fidelity. Just to kind of take you back a decade, in 2008, there was approximately 20,000. So you almost have a tenfold multiplier of millionaires since 2008 to today, which is pretty amazing if you think about that. I often go into high schools and talk to the students about, how many of you plan on being a millionaire by the time that you retire, and we'll ask them that question, and most of the students, sadly, do not raise their hands. I may, out of a class of 30 students, get one or two kids that say, I plan on being a millionaire by the time I retire. Well, if you think about that, we're talking to 16, 17, 18-year-olds, and in 40 years, that's a long time for them to grow their assets. But if you also think about the rate of inflation over the next 40 years, if they're not at least millionaires, they're going to be in poverty. And when you really think about what the dollar will buy 40 years from now versus today, when you take into consideration, for example, my parents that have spent more for their last vehicle than they spent on their first house, think about that for a second. It's not unreasonable at all for people to have spent more money on their most recent vehicle than they did for their first car 40 years ago, and that's because of inflation. And so we need to start changing this mindset that being a millionaire is unattainable. It's actually not hard at all when you have time on your side. Now, for those of you out there that are listening, and most of you out there that are listening are in your 40s or older, according to the demographics of what we know about this radio station. For you guys, I hope that you've been investing over the years up until this point. And for most of you, if you have been investing, the majority of those assets are in your 401k. And so the point to that is, if you don't want another 2008 to happen to your 401k, to where it essentially turned into a 201k, if you're picking up what I'm putting down, you need to have someone watching over that. And 401k money management is one of the services that I can provide, and would love to help you, would love to show you how we manage money and how we can assist you in your 401k plan. So back to the election results. So we know that the House was taken over by the Democrats, and a lot of people are concerned about that, as you should be. Here's the thing about a midterm election, or even a presidential, primary election that you have. When those elections take place, before that, there's an uneasiness in the market. There is a sense of, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know who's going to take over. And there's a lot of volatility because of that. The thing about the markets is that the U.S. stock market can go up or go down really in any political atmosphere. It just really boils down to having some sense of stability to know what to expect from the government so that we can continue to grow the market. So now that the market now that the elections are over, I think that we will see, in fact, it is traditionally very, very common to see a fourth quarter incline in the market because the election is finally over. People can take a breath. And normally, for example, the day after the market, you saw a 500-point increase to the Dow, for example, which was about a 2 or 3% increase, which was pretty phenomenal. Now, with all that being said, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a warning when it comes to what I believe the market's going to be doing for next year, regardless of the election results. And before I give you that warning, I got to give you a little bit of a setup in letting you know that if you look back to our last recession, which was called the Great Recession, by the way, in 2008, that was the largest, most devastating recession that the market has ever seen. By some standards, the market decreased by as much as 59%, and even by moderate standards, it still went down 40-45%. And so when you have a big recession like that, of course, it takes a while to recover. Well, we've been in recovery from that recession since March of 2009. That's coming up on a full decade that we have been recovering from that recession. And we have only had or experienced about a half a dozen corrections, which is about a 10 to 20% drop in the market. Normally happens quickly, recovers quickly. We have not experienced any type of recession since the Great Recession of 2008. Well, here we are, 10 years long in the tooth, and we still haven't experienced another one. And sometimes the market just needs to take a breath. It's almost, imagine if you were trying to run up a hill or a mountain. Occasionally you're going to have to stop. For me, that's going to be about 100 feet in, because I'm really out of shape right now. But about 100 feet into climbing up that mountain, you're just going to have to take a step back and stop, take a breath, get your wind about you so that you can take off again up that mountain. And so I believe that the market is overdue taking a big breath. Even though we just had a little bit of a correction here last month in October, we are overdue for that next recession. We're going to talk more about that potential recession and some of the other reasons that I believe that we are poised for that after a word from my sponsors. I hope that you all will come back and keep listening to Jason Murphy, your host, right here on Money in Motion on News Talk 107.7 and 1400 The Hub.
Protecting your home or business is important to you. That's why you might invest in an advanced security system or make sure you have the strongest locks on the market. But what are you doing about the sun? That big yellow ball of fire is shooting UV rays through your windows that can fade furniture and increase your energy costs. Fortunately, the Window Tint Company in Cookeville can provide you with a championship-level solution, offering multiple lines of window film for any need. The Window Tint Company is the Upper Cumberland's expert when it comes to protecting your home or business from blinding glare or damaging UV rays. And you'll still be able to admire those beautiful Middle Tennessee sunrises and sunsets. When you're ready to protect your home or business from the sun, give Jason and Susie with the Window Tint Company a call at 931-510-0830. That's 931-510-0830. Visit CookevilleWindowTintCompany.com to learn more or request an estimate.
Exotic Tropicals, home of the healthy pet. Good common sense can lead to a favorable outcome when deciding when and where to spend your money. At Exotic Tropicals, they realize you can live without everything that is available at their pet shop. Thankfully, we live in a country and a community that allows us the opportunity to do more than just get by. Pets can enrich our lives in many ways, and Exotic Tropicals can help you care for your pets in a way that makes sense. Exotic Tropical carries quality products that they have experience with and know how to use, and pets that are thoughtfully cared for to ensure your success. Stop by Exotic Tropicals today at 45 North Walnut Avenue right here in Cookeville, or give them a call at 931-528-1080. Exotic Tropicals, home of the healthy pet.
Just over 11 years ago, my wife and I went on our first date. We ended the evening by going to a little coffee shop here in Cookeville, just catty corner of the courthouse, named Poets. We sat down and enjoyed an amazing cup of coffee. We enjoyed the company with each other, getting to know each other. That ended up leading to us being married less than 6 months later and having been married for the last 10 years. It all started at Poets, right there, catty corner of the courthouse. For one of the best cups of coffee in Cookeville, I highly encourage you to stop by Poets on the Square or their other location on the north end of South Jefferson Avenue. Poets Coffee, a great place to take your next date or just enjoy a cup of coffee. Welcome back to Money in Motion. I'm your host, Jason Murphy from Diamond Financial Group, located right there beside Poets on the Square. Stop by and grab a great cup of coffee and come over and see me. Would love to talk finances with you and maybe help you navigate the ups and downs of the market. You know, a lot of people are so concerned about a recession or even corrections that happen in the market, and they feel like the world is ending sometimes when those things happen. Although, if you have someone managing your money properly, you can sometimes take advantage of those ups and downs of the market and create some really good buying opportunities. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit more. But first, I wanted to mention that there is an emotional roller coaster, if you will, to the market. And right now, being long in the tooth, as I said earlier, that's a horse reference. If those of you that don't know what that means, a horse's teeth continue to grow their entire life. And when a horse is long in the tooth, that means they're getting old and close to being time to be put down. Sad but true story. So the point to that is, when I talk about the market being long in the tooth, it may be getting close to time for that next recession, so that it can take the breath that I talked about in the last segment. And so the emotional roller coaster that I was talking about, though, starts once the U.S. stock market goes through a recession. There's a time period where people are still apprehensive and kind of scared because of what they just went through in the market. And normally at the very bottom of a market, for example, in February-March timeframe of 2009, when the Great Recession was really coming to an end, but people didn't know that, they were having feelings first of pessimism, then of panic, then of finally despair. And that's the point in their decision-making process where they start throwing the baby out with the bathwater, if you will, and they're selling at extremely low prices when they should be buying at the bottom of a market. The same thing kind of happens when you finish going through that recovery process. And so after despair, people finally start getting a little bit of hope, and then they feel some relief, and then finally they have some optimism. This probably happened, and it's a little bit different for everybody, but probably 4 or 5 years ago, we started having people finally start to feel optimistic, even though we had already been in a recovery from the Great Recession for 5 years. After optimism comes enthusiasm. After enthusiasm comes exhilaration. And then finally, the last phase in the market, and a good example of this is in 2007. So in 2000, went into the market in that year than had ever gone into the market in any single year to that point. And that feeling, when you see things like that start to happen, you're getting close to a feeling or a level of euphoria. And euphoria is the last phase in the emotional roller coaster of a market before a bull market ends. And so some of the reasons that I believe that we're getting to that euphoric point is, for example, there's a index that was just published called the Money Anxiety Index, and it is at the lowest level that it has been since November of 1968. That's longer than some of you have been alive. And what that means is that there's more people right now in America feeling good about money. They are feeling no anxiety about the market or about their 401k. They're not feeling anxious about money or the money conditions or the market. It's at the lowest level since 1968. So that's 50 years. I just had to do the math. But this month, that is 50 years that since the money anxiety index has been as low as it is right now. There's another index that I'm probably going to butcher the name because I don't have this one written down, but it's the Consumer Expectations for Business Conditions is the lowest that it's been since 1983, which if you look back to 1983, by the way, we were just going into the second recession of that decade, which is pretty unusual to have kind of back-to-back recessions like we did in the early 80s. First in 1980 or maybe even 1979, but we just barely recovered from that when we went back into another recession in 1983 when everybody started feeling really, really good about business expectations were super high, and now those are higher than they were even back then. And so the point to all this is I'm just encouraging you to be careful about feeling so good about the market right now that you're just selling your home so that you can invest in stock or whatever. I'm using just a random example to try to make you see the point that I'm trying to make. Make sure that you have someone that is watching these different indexes, that they're looking at what the market conditions are doing so that they can properly advise you. And for most of my clients right now, I am encouraging them and I'm expecting this, but we're not there yet, so I'm not pulling the trigger on this. But towards the end of the year or the first of 2019, my plan right now is to actually pull back a lot of my clients to a more conservative position, wait for that next recession to hit so that we can, when everybody's in despair and everyone else is selling at super low prices, then we can buy and take advantage of some really low stock prices and then see some phenomenal returns. I know that and I'm not promising this for my compliance people that are listening. By the way, love you, Kelly and Cassie, that listen to my show week in and week out and make sure I'm not doing anything illegal. So I'm not promising this, but there were some market returns anywhere from 40 to 70% in 2009 because of people that took advantage of buying in at those super low prices when the market was completely sold off after going through that great recession. So if you're interested in trying to take advantage of some of those types of situations and you want someone that is there watching your money for you, that is in the market day in, day out, trying to make good, wise, godly decisions for you and for your finances and for your future retirement, I encourage you to give me a call at Diamond Financial Group. You can Google that. You can call 646-4090. Again, that's 646-4090. And, of course, I'm Jason Murphy. You guys know me. I want to thank everybody for listening. I could not do this show without my sponsors. And by the way, I am looking for new sponsors right now for December, January, and February. That's my next 3-month sponsor kind of allotment. And if you're interested in being a sponsor and helping Money in Motion stay on the air, I would love to have you. So give me a call at 646-4090. But thank you so much. God go with each and every one of you. I just pray His abundant blessings over you, that He will go with you and watch over you this day, that He will grant you divine appointments, wisdom, and discernment. And I pray that in Jesus' name. You guys go with God this wonderful day. And thank you for listening to Money in Motion. I'm your host, Jason Murphy, right here on News Talk 107.7 and 1400 The Hub.
Advisory services are offered through Creative Financial Designs Incorporated. A registered investment advisor, and securities are offered through CFD Investments Incorporated. A registered broker-dealer, member FINRA and SIPC. 2704 South Goyer Road, Kokomo, Indiana 46902. Phone number 765-453-9600. Neither CFD Investments Incorporated nor Creative Financial Designs Incorporated are associated with SmartVestor or the Dave Ramsey Organization. Neither SmartVestor nor the Dave Ramsey Organization recommend or make an endorsement for services under the SmartVestor program.